Hey, what's up guys? Your agent Tyler Wayrung here with Keller Williams, and today we're going to talk about a little controversial topic, but I'm going to give you my inside thoughts on whether or not you should use a real estate agent when you're buying or selling a property. Now you might think I'm biased as an agent, but I think my advice might surprise you here, so let's jump in. Alright guys, so first off, we're going to talk about from the buyer side. You're looking to buy your next home. Should you use a real estate agent? And I think this advice won't surprise you here, but my advice is you should definitely use an agent when you're looking to buy for one primary reason. It's free to you, the buyer. It's free. You don't pay anything. The agent is paid from the commission on the seller's side. So there's no reason I can see not to use a real estate agent when you're looking to buy a new home. Other benefits include that your agent's going to set you up to get custom alerts from MLS listings. Guys, Zillow and Redfin and all the other sites can be great, but they're not as quick as the MLS, where the data actually comes from other agents entering listings. You can get custom alerts and give you speed to market. In a competitive market, that can be the key to you winning a deal or not, knowing as soon as it hits the market and being able to pounce on anything that meets your criteria. Another key benefit to using an agent as a buyer is that you'll be taken seriously with your offer. You know, if a listing agent receives an offer from someone unsolicited, it sparks a lot of questions whether or not they're a qualified buyer, whether or not they know what they're doing, whether or not they know even what to expect. So you'll be taken much more serious if your offer comes through a real estate agent. Your agent can also give you help with negotiating things that typically happen in a transaction, and also walk you through and guide you through expectations throughout the entire process so you know what's going on. If you've bought a ton of houses before, you might be familiar with this piece. But again, you're really out nothing if you use a buyer's agent to show you properties, because they are being compensated from the sale side of the transaction. All right, so that advice probably doesn't surprise you, but let's now talk about selling your home. Should you use a real estate agent when you list your home on the market? And my answer here is it depends. All right, so it depends on your situation and your experience. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you a real estate agent is perfect for every situation and you should always use one. I think there are a lot of benefits with using a real estate agent, but depending on your experience, you might not need one. Another big factor that plays in here are what are your goals with the transaction and what shape is the property in, what kind of equity position do you hold, and what do you hope to leave the closing table with. So if this isn't your first rodeo, if you've bought and sold homes before, you kind of know what the process looks like and you know where to find data. You have the time to be able to allot to talking with buyers, scheduling showings, talking through negotiations, then guys, you probably don't need an agent and you can likely save yourself some money in commissions. Just make sure you're pulling accurate comps and you price your home to sell accordingly. If it's in tip-top shape, then you can probably use Zillow, but want to bounce it off a couple of the other sites as well. Zillow can be great most of the time, but there's some factors that Zillow is just not great at accounting for and can sometimes be pretty significantly far off. Look at realtor.com, Redfin, and a couple other sites that maybe average out or come up with a median figure that might work best for you. But if you do decide to use a real estate agent, I think there are a ton of benefits there that also make up the cost. If your sole reason for not using an agent to sell your home is to save the commission cost, then I want to give you a couple more things to think about here that may impact your decision. A lot of times we see that someone's had a bad experience with an agent in the past. And often this is because people reach out to their network for a real estate agent and they get their dog's sister's cousin who just got their license or sells one house a year to represent them and they have a really bad experience. So if that's the case, I encourage you to just look for a good agent who does a lot of volume, who's very in tune with the market. You'll likely have much better experience with someone like this. So I do want to point out a couple benefits that a good agent can help with when listing a home on the market. So the first thing is they're going to weed out a lot of the unqualified buyers that you might have to deal with on the phone. We call them tire kickers. But when you list your home out as a for sale by owner, you're going to get calls from tons of people, renters, people currently renting, seeing if you will rent, are you open to renting, And that's something that an agent can help filter out and only bring you qualified leads that have been pre-approved and are serious about taking the next steps. One of the other downsides to being a for sale by owner is a lot of agents won't show their clients for sale by owner homes because they know that they're not going to get paid. Whether or not that's ethical is for you to decide. I'm just being honest and giving you insight into what I've seen. So that is a downside to listing it for sale by owner. Also, to have success with for sale by owners, you need to have spare time to allocate towards showings, open houses, and negotiations. Some people just really don't like to negotiate at all, and some others and most agents like high-stake negotiations like myself. Here's a big drawback I see for sale by owners make all the time is that they're not aware of their home's flaws. So this is something a real estate agent can help with when they walk through your home on the initial listing presentation. They'll point out areas that buyers are looking for, design trends or things that may be out of date. But when you live in your home every day, you just become accustomed to it and you start to not notice the things around you. So you might love the wood paneling on the ceiling and all four walls in your living room, but a real estate agent might help you with a cost-effective way to take that out and give it a more modern look that is ready for today's buyers. And the other big thing with listing your home by yourself is you are required by law to make certain disclosures about material defects and things that you know about the property. If you don't do this correctly, you could be subject to litigation down the road. And this is something that real estate agents are great about, making sure that you do all the right legal paperwork, all the disclosures are properly made, so that you can sleep at night knowing that you did things above board and there's nothing down the road that might come back to bite you. So a couple other things that for sale by owner just won't get you that will add value going with a great real estate agent. So first off, we're going to do high quality photographs by a professional photographer. We're all going to take those photographs, upload them into the MLS, which will also go out to all these syndicated sites like Zillow, realtor.com. We're going to market the snot out of your property and make sure every buyer in that zip code has seen your property and is aware of it and knows kind of what you're looking for and what the goals of the transaction are. We're then going to bring you an offer, or ideally multiple offers, give our recommendation on a great offer that we feel best fits your situation and has the highest likelihood to close. That's a big thing. A lot of people make offers that may look good on paper, but just probably don't have a good likelihood of seeing it all the way through. That's something a good agent will coach you through. We'll also walk you through the entire process and give you expectations on what to expect every step along the way. If you've bought and sold a home before, you know there are several things that have to go right, have to be timely for a successful closing, and that's something that a good agent will do. They'll make sure things and timelines are held tightly. They'll make sure that the other side of the transaction, someone who you typically don't have much control over, will interact with those agents and make sure they're doing the job too to get you to a successful closing. We'll also make sure that you have all the prior documentation throughout the entire process. You're well informed and you leave the closing table with everything you need. All expectations are met and you feel great about the entire process. There's nothing worse than having a buyer or seller's remorse after the deal is done and you go back and you wonder if you could have got more, if you did everything correctly. And so you really have to think about what that peace of mind might be worth and if saving 6% in commission is worth all that to you. So there are lots of things to consider, and in the end, it's your decision to decide what's best for you and your situation. But I hope this at least give you some insight into, if you want to do it yourself, some of the things you want to think through. So hopefully this was helpful and gave you some insight into the real estate process and kind of what things to think through when you're making your decision whether or not to list for sale by owner or to use a real estate agent. And as always, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Butler County area, I would love an opportunity to see if we might be a good fit for you. And if this was helpful, a like or subscribe would be greatly appreciated, or a share with someone who might be going through a similar thought process as this. And with that, I'm Tyler Wayrung with Keller Williams, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.